Welcome to the Bucher and Friends podcast, co-starring 10-year NFL veteran and Super Bowl champion, Will Blackman.
Manning from the end zone. He throws, had it deflected away, and it is picked off by Will Blackman, the former Giant.
Tim Dwight watches it hit, bounces, picks it up at the 10, slips a defender, fumbles the football. It's up for grabs. It's covered in the end zone by Will Blackman for a Green Bay touchdown.
And now, here is your host,
Let's send it over to Rick Bucher.
Rick Bucher.
Believe it or not, welcome to an edition of Bucher and Blackman. Yes! Yes! Subsidiary of Bucher and Friends.
Cheers, mates.
Part of the United Weedcast Network. I'm Rick Bucher. You can see me on FS1, read me on Bleacher Report, and hear me on radio.com and follow me on Twitter at Rick Bucher and on Instagram at Rick_Bucher. He's Will Blackman. You can see him on Sky Sports. You can follow him on Twitter at Will Blackman. And how much longer for this England sojourn for you?
I got another week. Another week.
Okay, cool.
I'm back on U.S. soil.
Have you acclimated?
I like to say that I just I was at a lunch today at Fortnum and Mason's, and
I don't know what that means. What is that?
It's a real popular place here. It's like a big, it's hard to explain.
In London?
They sell goods, and it's a big popular I don't want to call it department store because it's fancier than that.
Yeah.
Basically, I was in the room where Winston Churchill had his 71st birthday party.
Wow.
And I had dinner there, and I got invited by the CEO, Ewan Bettners, and to the right of me,
CEO of Sky Sports?
CEO of Fortnum and Mason's.
Ah, okay.
Yes.
You got the hook up.
Ewan Bettners. Well, yeah, because next to me, I'm sitting next to Rachel Johnson, who is the sister of Boris Johnson.
Whoa. Whoa.
Prime Minister, yes.
Is she as wacky as her brother?
She's very nice. She is very entertaining.
So she is. I'm going to take that as a yes.
She has a lot of energy.
The entire Johnson family, wackadoodles. Because he's a wackadoodle.
Listen, I'm speaking very positive.
Of course you are, because you're still in England as we record this. So as well you should. As I joked at the top, it feels as if it's been a couple weeks since we've done a podcast, and that's because it has been a couple weeks since we've done a podcast. And you've acclimated to England. I have not acclimated to you being in England because I screwed up the time even today to record this, thinking it was a 7-hour time difference, and it's actually 8. So you'd think I'd know that by now. Not sure how I screwed that up, but
that's good.
Nonetheless,
good.
we're.
By the way, Fortnum & Mason's it's an upmarket department store.
Upmarket. Okay.
Yeah. So it is department, but it's
not like say an Italy or it's they're part department store, part restaurant, food oriented places.
Yeah.
Oh, it is like that.
Yeah.
Have you ever been to an Italy?
I haven't.
It's EATALY. We're doing a free promo here for them. One of my business partners, when we go to Chicago, we have to eat there. Actually, we found another place. We found an Asian fusion place that he likes better. So I think we may come off of it. But prior to this, anytime there was an Italy in wherever, but particularly in Chicago, we would always end up there. It's very good.
But this is more of a department store. Like it's more of selling goods. Like they have everything from. It's almost like if you take Italy and Nordstrom's and Sears and they sell everything. Like you can buy a hamper, you could buy Christmas lights, you could buy wine, whatever.
Got it. By the way, it's Nordstrom. It's not plural. It's Nordstrom.
Listen, I don't care.
That bothers me.
I know it does, and just let it go.
Okay. Now that I've said it, I'm going to let it go.
It's when people go, "Oh, ATM." Do you call it ATM or ATM machine?
No, I call it an ATM.
No, you do not. You call it an ATM machine.
No, I call it an ATM.
Say ATM machine.
No, what I'm going to call it.
Do you correct people when they say
an
ATM
automatic
machine?
teller machine?
Exactly. Do you correct people when they say that? No.
No, I do not. That doesn't bother me.
Let it go.
Because if they're going to the ATM machine, they're probably going to get me some money. So I'm not going to complain about that.
And there is more than one Nordstrom's.
I knew you were going to come back with some explanation as to why it was rational that you would say
Yes.
plural. All right. Enough of that. I asked you before we came on very quickly, just wanted to ask you, best team in football is, and you said without hesitation.
Yeah, New England.
Right. Is there any other consideration? Who, with that in mind, who do you think is the second best team?
San Fran.
Okay. So you think that you believe that the 49ers are for real?
Yeah, if you haven't lost yet right now, you're one of the best teams.
I get that they haven't lost yet. And actually, when I look at their schedule,
Listen, you can only beat who's in front of you.
No. I get that. I get that. But
they beat down some not so good teams too, but still.
I mean, they played the Buccaneers, the Bengals, the Steelers, the Browns, and the Rams. And they choked the life out of the Rams, but the Rams aren't the Rams as of right now. I suppose my question to you is, do you see this coming around?
Coming around like
the Rams getting anywhere close to what they were last year?
Well, right now they're not healthy in a lot of spots. And
I know, but I don't know if they're going to get healthy. I mean, they lost some pieces. They lost some offensive line pieces that aren't coming back,
listen,
right?
I'm trying to answer your question, sir.
Okay.
I'm not saying they were. I'm just right here giving some dialogue and being detailed as opposed to being vague.
Okay.
I will say it will be very, very difficult because in that division alone, you got the Rams and the Seahawks that are playing inspired football. And
wait a minute, we're talking about the Rams. Rams aren't playing inspired. The 49ers and the Seahawks are playing inspired football.
Yeah, that's what I meant. Yeah. Seahawks and 49ers are playing inspired football. So right now in that division, it's tough sitting at 3-3. And also, right now, Arizona, they're 2-3-1, but they're playing inspired football too. They won 2 in a row. You know, they're kind of figuring things out. So it's going to be hard for the Rams to come out of the West if they don't, get things going.
They paid Jared Goff a lot of money.
Right.
And he's not having a very good year. Now, I will often say, like, one of the reasons I think Russell Wilson has been so great is because Chris Carson has been really great. Like, they have a running game now. And any quarterback who doesn't have a running game, it's very difficult for them to operate. Those are the greats of the greats that can still function without a solid running game. But a solid running game, to me, tilts the scales for you. And Jared Goff doesn't have that. Now, I've always kind of haven't bought all the way in on Jared Goff. I wouldn't have been so quick to pay him that kind of money, but I don't, people are killing him. It's over here. It is, what a mistake. You should have, you saw his first year, et cetera, et cetera. I think he's still a good quarterback. He may not be worth the money, but he's not as bad as people are making him out to be. Is that fair?
Well, I mean, I get what they're trying to say, because it's like when he looks good, he looks great. When he looks bad, he looks terrible. He looks real. That's what I'm saying. Like, there's no happy medium. Like, okay, he struggled this game. He only threw for like 290. It's like, no, he threw for like 70 yards, if that. It's when it's that bad. But I think, for him, he got paid because that was the going rate for a quarterback. And when you're in a situation where at one point you are in the MVP conversation, you do take your team all the way through the playoffs to the Super Bowl, and you're part of the piece why they got there. So I think he definitely earned it. Do I have him as one of the best? No, but he's very capable to make those plays, and he definitely earned that. So,
of the teams in the AFC, because you mentioned the 49ers, and I've been impressed with Green Bay at 5-1. The defense to me has been legit. I mean, they're winning without, huge performances from Aaron Rodgers, and I think that's a positive. But looking at the AFC, and now with the questions about Patrick Mahomes, are the Ravens or the Texans, or is there another team you look at? Are either one of those teams capable of taking down the Patriots at some point?
It's possible because, Buffalo kind of put together kind of a blueprint of how to attack New England. But that defense is playing so well, and they're so opportunistic. What's going on for New England? So right now they're being led by their defense, and I just feel like the adjustment's going to come soon. Where N'Keal Harry's coming back, he's going to get healthy. Guys are going to hopefully start getting healthy soon, and then the offense will probably catch up. And then here we go again.
Yeah. What's your take on Tom Brady and where he is right now?
I think he's just enjoying football right now. And that's, as you see, every time he wins, he puts out those right. videos.
I guess
I think that's just
How good do you think he is right now?
Well, I think he's it's weird. I think I saw the other day. I think he's 6 in passing.
Yeah.
Which I didn't know that.
What, does that surprise you that it's that high?
Yeah. Because these haven't been once again though, he's averaging 290 and
right.
people are like, "Oh man, no
he's
about
falling
Tom
off."
Brady.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know what I mean?
It's true.
But he's still only thrown 3 picks. He's completing like 65%, and he's playing good. He's playing really good football for an NFL quarterback. Now, obviously, I know people hold Brady to a higher standard, but yeah, it's funny.
How different is it? I've been meaning to ask you this. How different is it talking about football over in England?
It's not. You know what though? It's not different at all. It's funny. It's not funny. Actually, it is funny because I got into an argument with my co-host, my colleague Neil Reynolds, who's fantastic out here. Neil Reynolds. He works for NFL UK. He's the lead analyst for NFL Sky, and he works his tail off. And we had an argument because of how to explain football. Like, I dumb it down in the States, and I was like, yeah, I'm going to dumb it down here too, just to be real detailed about something. And he was like, well, you don't need to dumb it down here because the UK fans know football. I was like, I know, but it's just like, but he says.
Oh, you said I know? You didn't say, come on now.
No, he said, if not. I said, yeah, they know football, but like, in America, he goes, if not, they know just as much as Americans about American football. And that's why I disagree. Yeah, I disagree. And I get it though, because it's a foreign sport, so I know they work really hard to understand it, but I'm just like, it's not though, you know, and it's just that's our sport, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So it's not hard at all because the football fans here in the UK,
mm-hmm.
if they're American football fans, they're fully invested. So it's really, really cool, especially when I have interactions with some of the UK fans on Twitter. They ask me like legit questions where I have to think and answer them.
So then why do you think that the British NFL fans or football fans are not on par with American fans?
Well, here's my thing. I wouldn't say on par. I'm not sitting here. I'm not trying to think like put them down or not superior. I just meant like that's our historic game. That's our sport. You know what I'm saying? So I just look back in terms of from the people I talk to, like the conversations I had in the States in terms of how much they know versus out here how much they know. No, I'm not saying they don't know anything. It's just the details of the game are different.
And they don't know those details.
No.
Okay. Do you think? What do you think that's a byproduct of? I mean, you say it's our game, but why if they're studying the game, if you think they're knowledgeable, what are they not getting that an American football fan gets that the British fan simply doesn't have access to?
Because it's day-to-day football on all levels. Like, it's not just NFL.
Yeah, and that's what they see.
Yeah, they see NFL, but for us, it's development all the way from the youth, like all the way up, and that's just how it is for us.
That's interesting.
You know?
Yeah, because I was gonna try to equate it with soccer in this country, but there's plenty of exposure to soccer at lower levels. It's also not as complex a game. I learned that actually going from coaching soccer to coaching basketball. I'd always played basketball. I obviously covered basketball a long time. But coaching basketball, you realize, especially to kids, you realize how complicated the game is compared to soccer. Like soccer you can get deep into strategy and technique, but just to put somebody out there to function and to be able to play, you can kind of, the game itself and the rules are fairly simple to understand for a kid. Basketball is difficult. And I would imagine football, I never played it as a kid. I would imagine football could be really difficult to get kids to understand, like just the rules, just the basic rules in order to be able to play.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I get that. But also, too, just especially when it comes to real detailed tactics, not basic, like this is a cover 2.
Right.
This is a 7-step drop. This is a 5-step. No, there's so many, like, it's just the details, you know, because once again, it's almost like you're studying the sport for a long time. So,
right. Well,
like
I also wonder,
it wasn't a thing. Once again, I'm not trying to make this like, oh, like they don't know anything. No, not at all. Like I wouldn't be here. And I think everyone out here is totally and it's fun. It's really, really cool, you know, and then to go to the games, like they're sold out because people love it. And it's different. I just, you know, once again, sure, you can look at it as an opinion, but that's just how I feel.
Didn't you go play some flag football?
Yeah, I played with the Wembley Stallions.
And how did that go? Who are the Wembley Stallions for our listeners who may not be following flag football in Great
Britain?
There's
it's BAFA. It's a British football league out here. And the Wembley Stallions, they're one of the, I guess, like a semi-pro football team.
Okay.
And I linked up with the coach and wanted to either work out or do like a master class. It's the British American Football League or Association.
BAFA. Oh, BAFA. Well, then it's got to be the British.
But they call it the league though. But it's British American Football Association, but they call it the British American Football League. So,
okay. All right. Confusing.
No, it's not confusing.
The Brits often do this. Even the way they spell certain words, it's confusing. The way they schedule, that's how they pronounce schedule. Come on, man.
Okay. Anyhow.
Anyway.
Yeah, and it was so I just ended up going to the site, and I had my cleats with me, and I was like, okay, I'll just join the flag game. And so I jumped in, and I was like, okay, we don't really have a quarterback, so I played quarterback. And literally, I just went off the script and just made up plays on offense. And then we went on defense, and I just made up plays on defense.
So it became your thing. And they let you. So the coach had you?
No, the team I won. So I won a team that didn't have this. One team was, I guess, loaded with talent. So I went to the other team. And I had no idea what the score was or what was going on. And they were like, yeah, you just call it and we'll listen to you. Just call whatever you want.
Wow.
So it's funny because the game is going on. And I remember we scored 3 in a row.
Right.
And I'm like, okay, like we're getting it, And then the coach is like, oh, it's all right now. It's 28-28. I'm like, how is it 28-28? He said, because you jumped on the team that was losing. Like we just continued to keep playing the game.
Oh.
I was like, oh, okay. So, we end up, I think we were down 28-7 and end up winning 46-34.
Nice. All right. So I asked you about the best team in football. And first of all, did you answer the question? The team most capable of knocking off the Patriots in the AFC is?
The team?
Yeah.
Oh, my gosh.
We got Texans.
You mean knocking them off or actually beating them?
That's what I mean by knocking them off.
I think when they come around and play Buffalo again, that's going to be an interesting matchup.
Okay.
That would be an interesting matchup because actually, well, you know what? Gosh, they do play. They play Baltimore.
Yep.
They got an interesting schedule coming up. Now that I look at it, good luck. Yeah, they play the Jets, who got Sam back. Cleveland, who knows they're gonna get their act together. Baltimore, Philly, Cowboys, Texans, Chiefs. By the time they play the Chiefs again, Mahomes should be healthy. Ooh.
So when you quickly answered when I asked you about best team in football. When I asked you best quarterback, you said
Russell.
Yeah, it took you a minute. It took you a beat to answer.
Yeah, because I like Deshaun Watson. I like what he's doing right now, but I also like Russell.
So I just want to throw a couple of the other guys out there. Russell's first, Deshaun Watson's second. You've trash canned Tom Brady.
I didn't trash can.
Where's Aaron Rodgers?
Never said that.
Carson Wentz. I mean, there's a number of guys that Patrick Mahomes. Like all things being equal, what is it that puts
Actually,
Russell?
Matt Ryan's playing some good ball too, but they're just not winning.
Also fair. So with all that, I mean, I don't know that you would say Lamar Jackson, although they're winning. Let's just stay there. What puts Russell Wilson above everybody else in your mind? Because I think we were talking about this before we came on. That my feeling is that having a running game, having an established running game, how your running back is doing can have such a huge influence on the quarterback. Not to say that the quarterback's not good in and of himself or having a good season, but you look at the effect that Zeke had on Dak and the effect, as I see it, that Chris Carson is having on.
No, Chris
Russell.
Carson is phenomenal. I think he's fifth right now in rushing.
Yeah.
He's definitely a huge help.
And you're not going to run unless if you don't have an offensive line. That's what I always feel like. We always give the quarterback too much credit and we give him too much blame. There's so much.
They always have the football.
I know they always have the football, but you need time to do something with that football, and you need to have enough of an option of running it that it's not obvious that you're going to be throwing it every time.
Yeah, but at the same time, though, as the quarterback, you're able to know your strengths and weaknesses as a team, and you have the option to adjust things to also, like Tom Brady does the best job in terms of protecting himself.
Right.
He lost 2 linemen this year, and they're able to plug guys in and still get them in the right position to, protect them as best as they could.
Right.
And I think Russell has such command of this team, and like what he's doing right now. I mean, he has 14 TDs and no picks.
That is pretty impressive.
Yeah, he has I think he has the highest average per pass at 9. He's tied with Mahomes at 9, and he's completing 72% right now of his passes.
This is where I hate to say it, but this is a big part of what we don't take into account when we anoint guys is their physical durability. Russell Wilson's physical durability. It's not as if he doesn't get hit. He's amazing.
Never missed a game.
Yeah. I mean,
I can't remember what year it was. I think it was, I'll look this up. I think it was 2016, September. Russell Wilson got tackled really bad and ended up tearing his MCL. He had a grade 2 MCL. And which grade 2, no, I think it was a grade 3. And grade 3, it's required for surgery. Like you go get surgery for that. Like right. Even if it's a scope. Yeah, it was 2016 September. And Never missed a game.
Crazy.
Never missed a game. Like, he was getting treatment on it nonstop, and just continue to play through it. And that right there is crazy, you know. But that's just how he's built. And then they end up still winning the NFC West. They won their wild card game, and then they got knocked off by Carolina in the divisional round.
Right.
But that right there says everything.
So when it comes to we often don't think about that, and I bring that up because both Mahomes obviously going down. They're saying it's a best case scenario. He's supposed to miss roughly 3 weeks, or could miss only 3 weeks. We've got Zion Williamson doesn't look like he's going to start the season. Maybe out a couple of weeks. Not really clear. It's a knee issue in terms of what's bothering him. And with both of these guys, we've already anointed them, and staying healthy is such a big part of the picture. With Mahomes in particular, like, he was already playing hurt, and he impressed me in that he was able to play. He had a bad ankle issue, but I also thought as I watched the games, like, he's still taking a lot of big hits, and he's not a built guy. Russell Wilson's built much more solid than he is. And so when it came to this, I really wasn't, obviously got it on a quarterback sneak. People are going to second guess whether you should be doing that with a guy that's already banged up. I'm not going there. I just looked at how durable can he really be, because one of the hits that he's already taken and the way that he's built, and how he's reacted. Deshaun Watson obviously went down last year, had the ACL, still getting hit, still doing things, but again, seems to me to be built for a little more durability. Do you look at Mahomes and say, where do you look in terms of where an adjustment has to be made, whether it's their offense, whether it's Mahomes, or whether you're looking at it and saying, hey, look, these were some unusual hits. He's more durable than, he hasn't proved that he's fragile just yet.
By the way, that was probably the longest question.
I know. And it's multi-headed too. Like there's like 3 questions in there. It was probably the worst thing I've ever done, in terms of a conversation. But
anyhow.
That just shows my confidence and my faith in you that you can sort it out and do it. No, and you know what? I'm not going to apologize for this, because it's been so long since I've talked to you. Well, all these things, it's like a traffic jam in my head of questions I've been wanting to ask you.
But it's not for me. It's for the listeners that are like waiting for us to get to the damn answer.
That's
and you're dragging
true.
It out.
That is true. I'm annoying whoever's still listening at this point. Thank you.
Yeah. So basically, I think with Mahomes is, I can't even say his style, because the quarterback sneak, that was just something that was
odd. He took a knee to the side of the knee.
Yeah. But I know, his style in terms of buying time, and he could throw it from anywhere on the field, any kind of, position he's in, he can crank the football and chuck it, and they always compare him to somebody like Favre, who always took big hits because of his style too, But
again, Favre was built a little sturdier.
Favre was built, more, definitely grown, but that's something that he's gonna have to figure out. He's gonna have to make some adjustments with his training. I remember when I met Russell his second year when I was in Seattle in training camp. He's always asking questions. He was always asking me like what did I do to finally take care of my body and not get injured, because I was injury plagued my first 5-6 years in the league. I had so many injuries, couple of injury reserves, a bunch of surgeries, and he asked me what did I do to get over that, and I told him all the things that I did in terms of the most important thing is you need to take care of your body when you feel good. Meaning don't wait till you're sore, don't wait till everything aches and you don't feel good. Like, okay, now let me do this. It's like if you're feeling fresh, okay, well, keep feeling fresh. Right. Go foam roll, go get in a Epsom salt bath, go stretch.
Boy, that's good advice.
Yeah, stay feeling good, and he took it to heart. And I'm not saying I have a part of it, but he just always asked the right questions. Yeah. I knew from an early stage everything mattered to Russell in terms of making sure he got the most out of his football career.
The flip side is, so you have that first catastrophic injury. What's that like mentally? The first time your body lets you down?
Yeah, so it's crazy. So when I got drafted in 2006 in May, I had to go to mini camp and then I had to come back to school for graduation. So during minicamp, it was like I think the last day I was covering Greg Jennings, a colleague of ours, and ended up snapping my right foot in half.
Wait. Right, snapping it in half, like
the outside, the fifth metatarsal, snapped that in half.
Got it.
Right.
Got it.
And so I had to go graduate on crutches. So I'll never forget that. And I just remember panicking because I was like, man, that's the first thing you want to hear is you don't want to get hurt. That's the first thing you hear. Don't get hurt. You might get released. You might get cut. You're gonna get replaced. And like everyone kept reassuring me, like you're good. We drafted you. We have a plan for you. I'm like, all right, whatever. So I had surgery. Came back. I dealt with so many things my rookie year, and it was just draining. But I knew, like, they kept reassuring me that I was here. I had a plan. And so the next year I keep going. And so let me fast forward to 2009 to answer your exact question. I ended up tearing my ACL that year. And I just remember laying on the turf. I'm like, this is the one you don't want. You hear guys, I stopped playing because I blew my knee out. Well, I blew my knee out for real. ACL, MCL, lateral meniscus, partial dislocation. Like I tore my stuff up. And I just remember laying there like one, somebody called my wife, and two, like, am I ever going to be the same again? That was my biggest thing. Like, because my main attribute, everyone in the NFL is a mutant. They have their own attributes.
Yep. What
they want to do. Mine was able to change directions. And that's what I could do. That's why as a bigger defensive back at 6'1", 208, I can play in the nickel. I was good at turning points. That was my thing. And I was like, well, now I'm going to have to make an adjustment. I'm going to have to go play safety, strong safety in the box. And that was my biggest fear. And I was thankful that I met a bunch of people. I met Gavin McMillan, who was my trainer at Sports Science Lab. And he had these cool training techniques where I got all my confidence back. Because that's the thing. It took me a while to get even though I felt good, it took a while to get my confidence back just to move the same.
Yeah. And can you tell that you're not moving the same? Because I watch a guy and I can see, like, there's just that little bit of hesitation, or it's not the explosion is the same. But I also I'm not comparing myself in any way, but I've had injuries where I come back and I think I'm running the same, or I think I'm moving the same, and I'm not. It's just, I don't know, that little mental trigger. And I don't know whether it's the anticipating of the pain or anticipating that it's going to go out again or what it is, but there is that little shade that's different.
It is different because you're aware of it. Even when I was rehabbing my foot, I remember I was running in the facility and I just kept hesitating. And I remember Will Henderson was our fullback, and he was like, dude, he said, come here. He said, sometimes, man, you just gotta push through that. And he used swear words. He was like, you gotta push through it. And I was like, bro, this is brutal. He said, you just gotta go. That's the only way, you're gonna
get back.
So you have to almost build tolerance for your pain threshold.
Do you remember? Do you remember the time when you did it? Like when you finally felt like you pushed through it, or you turned that corner, or did it happen gradually?
It happened gradually. It did. It did. And eventually, especially with my foot, I went and got different shoes, a little wider set, so it wasn't so much pressure on my foot. So I did all the things I needed to do to get that right. And same thing with my knee. It probably took about 3 years because I had a really bad surgery the first time. And so I had to actually redo that surgery again to get it right. And so it took me about almost 3 years to get my knee right. And it's funny because every team I would go to, they wanted me to sign a waiver saying that if anything happens to my knee, then I'm responsible. And I laugh all the time, especially towards the end of my career, I kept signing. I was like, I'm not doing the waiver anymore. Like, well, why not? I said, because I have not been on the injury report for my knee in about 9 years.
Yeah. That's funny.
So,
because the NBA does the same thing. They have body parts that are red flagged.
Well, you have a little bit of osteoarthritis. I'm like, half this team got osteoarthritis, bro.
Good for you. Good for you standing up for yourself. All right. Was there anything else that we needed to cover? That's my question. Got to the quarterback question.
Jalen Ramsey
going to the Rams. Let me ask you that before we go. Not only Jalen Ramsey going to the Rams, but the Rams have basically mortgaged their future. I don't think they have a first round pick unless they trade for one. Right now, they don't have a first round pick in the cupboard for the next at least 4 years.
Yeah, I'm curious to what this plan is, because that was the going rate. It was 2 first round picks for Jalen. That was the going rate, and I did not think anybody was going to pull the trigger for that. Yeah, and I know the Rams are going all in because it's like, we were just there,
right?
We were just there, and they're going all in. But yeah, they did trade away everything. Unless they plan to make more moves in the offseason, move people around. I don't know, but they apparently they needed that. I think they obviously clearly weren't happy with Marcus Peters in terms of them trading him to Baltimore.
Right.
They needed more depth, I guess, linebacker wise. They made a trade with the Browns and got Austin Corbett, the lineman, because they obviously needed more healthy bodies, and I think he was a second round pick for them, if I can remember, for the Browns. And so, yeah, but that was interesting, man.
Well, the schedule sets up fairly well for them. They're at the Falcons. They've got the Bengals, Steelers, Bears, Ravens, Cardinals, Seahawks, Cowboys, 49ers, Cardinals. I'm not saying it's an easy schedule by any means, but they've got a couple coming up where they can get back on. They won their first 3 and then lost their next 3. I don't know about you. I'm just not convinced that Jalen Ramsey is enough of a difference maker to change. Like, it's not going to change them offensively. And offensively, they've been good at times. Their whole team's just been inconsistent. Defensively, sometimes they gave up 55 to the Buccaneers. The offense has been good at times, but then 49ers just shut them down. Saints shut them down. I take that back. They shut the Saints down. I apologize for that. But I don't know. The problem is, for me, looking at it and saying, okay, well, this is an obvious weakness. If they fit, like the Browns fixed their offensive line. I think that would go a long way toward fixing everything else. The Rams, it doesn't feel like it's any one thing. Bringing Jalen Ramsey in for Marcus Peters, to me, doesn't feel as if now they've solved all of their problems.
Well, I feel like with Jalen is probably more. You'll probably get more of disciplined player. The thing with Peters is, like, it's feast or famine. Like, he might give up 100 and something yards receiving, but he'll get 2 picks.
Yeah.
And sometimes, those picks will help, and they help the team for sure. But sometimes those yards can really hurt the team as also. But I know Jalen, his issue was he didn't really want to play off and zone so much in Jacksonville, and that he wants to be able to play man and travel with a guy. Well, that's what Wade Phillips does. Wade likes playing man with guys.
Yeah.
He was able to do that in Denver because he had pass rushers, and so they were like, hey, we're going to play man. Ball's going to come out. So I think that was the thing too, where Jalen's like happy about that.
I want to get on the Packers bandwagon. You didn't say anything about the Packers. I'm wondering whether that's for a purpose or just because they don't come first to mind when we talk about the best teams in the NFL right
now. They are. They're definitely up there in terms of one of the best teams. Definitely one of the best, one of the most balanced teams. Because they're able to Obviously, they have Aaron Rodgers. They got 2 running backs that
Aaron
are
Jones
getting it done.
looked really good, solid at running back.
Right. Jamal Williams, I think the other one is.
Yep, I think that's right.
And Aaron's making it happen without his top targets.
Right.
And then you look at the investments that Brian Gutekunst made in terms of getting the Zadarius Smith and Preston Smith. Preston right now is 3rd in the NFL in sacks, and Zadarius is causing havoc. Them 2 are all over the place. And then it just helps the back end. So overall, just as a complete team, they are phenomenal, sitting at 5-1. You know, we can sit here and talk about calls or what have you, but they still did the things they needed to do to win, to put themselves in that position. So Packers are definitely up there in our conversation. I just like the fact. Go back to San Fran, right? And the reason why I like them, like you said, best team is. I look at the Pittsburgh game. For you to have an offense that turns the ball over 5 times,
and
you just don't even blink, and you still come out victorious. Like that's what it is right there. They know everyone. They caught everyone by surprise. They have fantastic leadership on all over the place, especially Sherman coming back healthy. He's basically like another coach in that room. D Ford and Bosa and Buckner, like all those dudes are causing havoc. They got 3 running backs that can do whatever they want. They're able to get that done. And Jimmy G hasn't even really caught fire yet. No,
people were actually kind of down on him at the beginning of the year.
Right.
Having some questions about
right.
Was he worth the money? There was one other thing I wanted to ask you, and we will go after this. I'm watching Aaron Jones and Marlon Mack with the Colts, and I see guys taking the Le'Veon Bell approach of rather than just hitting the hole as quickly as they can, kind of probing or kind of slow playing it behind the line and then finding their cut and almost picking their way. Le'Veon, I felt, had a unique style when it came to this. Correct me if I'm wrong, if there's other guys that were similar, but or were doing that before him. But I feel as if he kind of had a new approach, and I see some of these other guys that seem to be adopting that. Are you seeing the same thing? Am I making too much of it, or what?
No, he definitely. Definitely, because he had lots of success with it and it stood out. He definitely has made it the main staple of his in terms of running style. But that just goes to 2 things. You look at vision and really good feet. And when I look at vision and really good feet, I look at guys like Marshall Faulk, right? He was the type of guy who was very, very patient and let the block set up. Frank Gore was like that. He's still like that, where he's very, that's why he's still able to he's still playing. You know, you can't play that long at running back and not be able to be patient like that. He knows how to. His best thing about him, he knows how to get hit, and he knows how to find the little gaps between the linemen.
Frank Gore for sure.
Yeah. And then I look at Marshawn Lynch. Okay. He's another one. He's another one too that is so patient. Had phenomenal feet. All his feet were just unbelievable, and able to get things like that. Because I name. Especially like Marshall and Frank Gore, and even Le'Veon, they're not blazers.
Yeah,
they're not known. Even though they all can take it the distance, they all weren't known for being track guys, but they were able to still be patient, let blocks set up. Sometimes your linemen aren't going to get there. I hate when guys get the football and they just run into their own guys.
Right.
It's like, no, you got to let the guard pull. You got to, and trust the backside is going to hold it down. Let the guy trap. Let the guy make his move. And trust me, these linebackers are aggressive, so it's gonna work. Just be a little patient, let it set up. So I agree.
All right. Well, we wanted to thank our listeners for their patience in waiting for Will to show up again on the podcast. I know I'm very grateful that we were able to get it back together. So that does it for this episode of Bucher and Blackman. I just like saying it. I like being able to say it again. Bucher and Blackman, subsidiary of Bucher and Friends, part of the United Wecast Network. Don't forget, please rate and review the show on iTunes or wherever you get your podcasts. All you got to do is hit the stars And then if you want us to do something for you, screenshot us that review or those stars, the number of stars you gave us, to @BucherFriends, and you'll be eligible to win some prizes. And the prize that we're giving away is we're going to give away a edition of my book, since the China thing in the NBA has become such a big deal, and I've referenced the book that I wrote with Yao, A Life in Two Worlds. We're going to give away a brand new copy of that. I'll even autograph it if you so wish. Probably not going to be able to get Yao to autograph it because he's now a Chinese official, president of the Chinese Basketball Association. Although maybe we could effort to do that. We'll see. Bottom line, you will get that, and I would highly recommend to anybody who's curious about everything that's going on with the NBA in China. That will give you a tremendous amount of insight. All right. For Will, for myself, until the next podcast, Ryan Hollins and I will do a quick preview, maybe not so quick, preview of the NBA season. It's just around the corner. We'll give you our teams. We'll pick our teams going into the season, who we think is ultimately going to win it all this year. That's the next podcast. Thanks for listening to this.